Now, life processes in more detail, like basic essential activities performed by organisms by the use of energy are known as life processes. So, what are these activities? So, those activities could be the various types of characteristic features which we have just shown, which differentiate between a living and a non-living organism. For example, when we consume food, then what happens next? Our food gets oxidized in the presence of oxygen which we inhale. So this process occurs in our cell. So it is a cellular process. So what comes next? After nutrition, what happens? Respiration. And as a result of respiration, we get energy because our food gets oxidized or burned in the presence of oxygen which we inhale. Next, what comes after respiration? So once our body gets energy, right? So we use that energy to transport various food or respiratory gases or nitrogenous waste from one place to another, or to pump our blood. So heart also functions and it requires energy. So that energy we get from this process, that is respiration. So as a result of respiration, next step or next process occurs, that is transportation. Next, after transportation of various food molecules or nitrogenous waste or some respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, some byproducts are removed. So those byproducts are removed from our body, and that process of removal of waste or the byproducts is known as excretion. So basically excretion is the removal of waste products from our body. So here in this way you could see one process is dependent on another process. So all these processes are together known as our life processes, which are required to perform many tasks or functions. So basically, to perform all these processes, energy is required. So this is the first step to get energy from food outside. So that process is known as nutrition. Therefore, it comes very first. That nutrition, then respiration, transportation, and finally excretion. And yes, with the help of energy, we grow, we develop, and we synthesize many proteins in our body, which help in repairing of cells and tissues and any other wearing and tearing which happens in our body. So this we have just discussed, that nutrition is the process of consuming food, and we consume food from the outside source, and those sources could be plants or animals. We get vegetables, fruits, fibers from plants, and we get many dairy products from the animals. The food which we intake, we basically need the carbon-based molecules from that food, because carbon-based molecules are necessary. They are essential for our body to perform tasks. So, these carbon-based molecules are usually present in our food sources. So, first, that energy sources need to be broken down or built up in the body, and the process is known as metabolism. So metabolism could be any of the reaction present in our body. Any of the reactions occur in our body. Metabolism can be divided into two types. Those are anabolism and another one is catabolism. anabolism is the anabolic reactions. It involves the anabolic reactions, and catabolism includes the catabolic reactions. Now, a question comes that what are these reactions and how are they necessary? So, anabolism. Anabolism is a type of the reaction or metabolism in which the simpler food molecules, when combined, they form a complex or the complex molecule. So, from the simpler molecule, when they combine, they form a complex molecule. Can we have an example? Yes. So a very good example is protein synthesis. Proteins are made up of many types of amino acids, and amino acids are the subunits for protein. So, when more than one amino acids combine, they form a complex structure that is protein. So, protein is synthesized. Now, come to the catabolic process. So, here is a way how you can remember this term, catabolic process or catabolism. So, cata, here cut, right? It sounds close to the cut. So, we generally cut those things which are complex, which are bigger in size. So, this involves the breakdown of the complex molecules into some smaller molecules. So, we can reverse that step of protein synthesis here as well. So, a very good example can be written as fats. Fats, they are the form of complex molecules. Now, when fats break down, they break down into smaller subunits like fatty acids and glycerol. So, these are the smaller molecules, and this is the complex molecule, that is fat. So, here the complex molecules get converted into the simpler forms or simpler molecules. So, this process is known as catabolic process, or the type of metabolism, it is catabolism. Now, for digestion, to digest our food, some reactions are important to carry out, and those are oxidation reduction reaction. Now, the oxygen is required for respiration, which we have already discussed. Now, let's talk about the single-celled organisms. In single-celled organisms, for example, amoeba or paramecium, there is no specific organ present. There is no specific organ present for carry out the process of nutrition, or to carry out the process of respiration, or to carry out the process of transportation, or to carry out the process of excretion. So, because they are the single-celled organism, so basically they have their body surface which is in the contact with the surrounding or the atmosphere. So, the process is known as diffusion. With the help of diffusion and with the help of the direct contact of their skin or the outer membrane with the surrounding, they take up all their nutrition, they transport their gases, they excrete out waste as well. But in the multicellular organisms like human beings, we have specific organs to perform some specific functions. For example, we have a transportation system or a circulatory system to transport various types of food materials, to transport various types of nitrogenous waste, to transport various types of respiratory gases as well. Moreover, we have another systems also, like we take up nutrition by the alimentary canal. So basically we have our alimentary canal, which is a long tube extending from our mouth to anus. Next, we have a well-established excretory system as well. And that excretory system includes kidneys, ureter, urethra, etc. Now, in addition to these systems, we also have the respiratory system, a well-developed respiratory system, which includes lungs, bronchioles, primary, secondary and tertiary bronchioles, and alveoli, which are the grape-like structure and form the ultimate site of respiration. Now, this we have just discussed that in case of multicellular organisms like human, we need a transportation system to carry out the process of transportation of food and oxygen. The excretory system is also required to excrete out the waste or the byproducts which are formed during the oxidation reduction reaction, which needs to be expelled out. Otherwise, the products or the byproducts could be harmful for our body.